In today's economic storm, people's retirement accounts are being devastated. Consumers are searching for a safe place to put their money. Are you feeling the same? If you are, please get ready to listen and learn about a new concept that will give you financial security and peace of mind. Now, here is the host of Become the Banker, certified financial planner and award-winning author, Joseph Quijano.
Good morning, everybody. This is a happy Monday. You know, I just got back from Iowa, which is my home state. It was actually the first state that I ever seen in the United States, coming from Mexico City to a small town in Greenfield, Iowa. So it was really kind of a memory lane for me, you know, to see not only some of the people that knew me back then, but also a wrestling coach that happened to be there. So really exciting time, and it kind of brought some thoughts for today's show. You know, this is money mindset, having the right mindset about money. And we've been talking about how can you really create financial success? How can you really achieve your financial dreams? Why is it that some people make it financially when other people don't make it financially? What is the reason? And over my last 45 years of doing financial planning, I have really come to the conclusion that is real basic. Creating financial success, achieving your financial dreams is simple. You have to have the proper mindset. You have the proper attitude about money. And I'm so happy that, you know, like my son Jordan, he's with us today as well. I'm blessed to have him with me. And we work together, and he's finding out that really it is the way people think that's going to give them their financial success. But coming back from Greenfield, Iowa, which is the small town that I grew up in, gosh almighty, I mean, I've seen so many wonderful people that have achieved financial success. And when you look at them, they haven't done anything really difficult to achieve that. I mean, I can tell you one thing. My wrestling coach and his wife, 1968, they began to teach. They're teachers. She was a math teacher, and he was a wrestling coach and also a shop teacher, you know, he industrial arts. And teachers, as we all know, they're terribly underpaid, even back then. Probably worse back then. But you know what? I sat down with them. We had breakfast, and they told me all about the trips that they have taken. They have gone to Europe. They have gone to all over the world, basically. And they have invested money in the local hotel, the Greenfield Hotel. And they're doing phenomenal. So I sat down with him and had breakfast, and I said, how did you achieve that? He says, Joe, it's just like any sport. So what do you mean? Just like wrestling. You have to see yourself winning before you can win. If you get on the mat, a wrestling mat, before your wrestling match, and you have a negative attitude about the meet or about your opponent, guess what? You're not going to win. And I said, you know something, that really rings a bell to me, because that's exactly the way that we were trained. You know, we went to state. We won the state championships in wrestling in Iowa. And that's exactly how they trained us to think that you got to win. You have to have a winning attitude. And you know what? I forget that, but I have carried that along with me in my life. And anything I have achieved, anything that I have done, I have this attitude that in order to achieve whatever your goal may be, in this topic that we're doing right now, we're talking about making money, creating financial success. You have to think it first. Don't you agree, Jordan?
Absolutely. I think that's something that we've talked about this a few times from the episodes, that this isn't taught in the school systems. This is something that we unfortunately are kind of on our own to learn from either role models, our parents, conventional wisdom from just finding out what other people do with their finances. And it's something that it's just shocking that we don't have criteria that's really set out for ourselves or our children to learn this at a young age, because honestly, this is the biggest kind of endeavor that we go through our life is retirement money, talking about savings, how to budget, how to do just the basics. And again, we're just kind of on our own to figure it out, which is really, really sad that we have to do that, because we lose a lot of money sometimes to find out mistakes that we make or really opportunities that we should have taken that we didn't have the right mindset or the right money for at that time.
I agree, and I think one of the things that you do so well, Jordan, is when we have either a webinar or a seminar, you always quote that really resonates well with you, right? Rich people think like rich people, and poor people think like poor people. Now, we have made a lot of references to the law of attraction. I think that has been one of the best-selling books in the world. And that is exactly what we're talking about, basically. We're talking about attracting whatever we are thinking. And we talked to you earlier in the early episodes that we have the greatest power. And the greatest power is the power to choose. We can choose our thoughts. We can definitely choose the way we think. So you have a choice. You can think like rich people, or you can think like poor people. Simple as that. And I'm just going to make a reference here real quickly on the law of attraction. You have to have some self-talk. You got to talk to yourself. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with talking to yourself. They say that it's okay to talk to yourself. You may need to worry a little bit if you begin to answer yourself. But I mean, normally, there's nothing wrong with talking to yourselves. And you have a choice to either talk positively or negatively. Right? So I'm going to give you, and I wish I was able to see you and guide you. But I mean, you have to have a statement. You need to have a desire statement, they call it. You have, like an opening sentence. Like maybe this is just an example of one. This is the opening of your statement to yourself. I am in the process of attracting all that I need to do, know, or have to attract to achieve financial success. I mean, just look at that. I am in the process. You're actually telling yourself that you are in the process of attracting all that you need to do, know, or have to attract to achieve financial success. Now, you have to have a body of that statement. Okay? And you need to know, like, I have decided that I'm going to be making $1 million, or whatever your goal may be. Or I have decided that the universe is going to help me attract money, the money that I need to achieve my financial dreams. And then you close that statement by stating the law of attraction is unfolding and orchestrating all that needs to happen to bring me to my goal. Talk to yourselves. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you start thinking negatively, like let's say, for example, that you may think, well, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. I have all these bills to pay. I'm just making ends meet. Have you talked to people like that? I mean, we talk to people all the time, and when we ask them, how you doing financially, some people say, well, we're just making ends meet. We're just keeping our head above water. Is that positive? Is that negative? I mean, think, here's a perfect example that I'm going to use, and this is a real example. And Jordan, you probably have a ton of examples to share, but I mean, this actually just happened. I think it was like maybe Friday. Yeah, Friday, Thursday, right before I took off to go see my hometown. I have a client, and this client is an electrician here in Colorado, and his mother passed away, left him with $200,000 that he wanted to invest. And he also had a pension from a previous employer of $187,000 or something like that. Anyway, so one of the plans that he bought from my company came in, and I wanted to explain it to him, and I delivered the plan to him, and I told him, you really have it made. I mean, you really have it made. I mean, you got this account, which is $200,000. You have this other account that is $187,000, and those accounts, and you're only 48 years old, those accounts will probably grow to over $1 million when you turn 65. So you're going to have a beautiful retirement. You know what his answer was to me? He says, yeah, I am set for retirement, but I'm drowning in my current situation. I'm just making ends meet. And I thought to myself, this is a guy that has everything going for him. He's going to have over $1 million at age 65, if not more, to help him retire in comfort. But yet, in his present day-to-day situation, he's thinking, I'm drowning. Jordan, have you met people like that before?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's very common, especially in today's given state of economy, for us to think negatively. I mean, even if there is a positive situation in front of us, we get blinded by the negative energy around us, or the negative situations, the bills that are constantly piling up, the phone calls, whatever it may be. It's sometimes difficult for people to get past that state of mind and to really see what's on the other side. So it's very common. I mean, this is a very dire time right now for people to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. This isn't going to be a permanent situation. And I think a lot of people forget about that it's not permanent. This is only an in-between, an intermediate situation for right now in this given time, and this isn't going to be for the rest of your life. So we have to be able to cheer ourselves on. We have to be our own cheerleader for ourselves. Otherwise, it's easy to get consumed by those negative energy or the negative thoughts, and that's something that we see all the time in the financial world, because unfortunately that's usually everybody's biggest stress is finances, and that's usually comes hand in hand a lot of times with negative thoughts. But We're going to be taking a break here, and then we're going to be coming right back to the show. So we want to thank you guys listening to us here with Jordan and Joseph Quijano with Become the Banker on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be tuning right back to you here shortly. Thank you.
If what you thought to be true about money turned out not to be true, when would you like to know about it? Most of us have been taught wrong about money either by our family or friends. Our school system does not have any curriculum to teach us how money really works and how to make our money grow without risk in any economy. By tuning into Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano, you'll learn the truth about money and strategies to help you grow your money without risk. Are you ready to thrive financially in the economy? Listen for Become the Banker radio show every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano. To participate in today's show, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You could also ask to comment by email to joseph@becomethebanker.org or text to 303-880-0887.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Quijano with my son Jordan with us today, and we're talking about having the proper mindset about money and how to achieve our financial dreams and success. And I said at the very beginning that it all begins with the way we think, the way that we're thinking. What are we thinking? And the way that we're talking to ourselves. What are we telling ourselves? Do we choose to think positively about money, or do we think negatively about money? That is the bottom line right there. You know, going back to Iowa and actually meeting with my wrestling coach, he reminded me the way that we were trained to think about winning before we stepped into the wrestling mat. And in my dealings with people that have achieved financial greatness, they have a winning attitude about money. They have an attitude of success, that they can achieve whatever their goals and dreams are. See, we're only limited by the way we think. We're limited by our thoughts. Now, some people may say, well, that's a lot easier said than done. You're absolutely correct. It's not natural. So you know what? There's a saying that really stuck in my mind, from athletics to making sales to achieving anything. If you are not there yet, you have to fake it till you make it. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, I have. I mean, I work all my life, and when I was in the military, I had part-time jobs, sales jobs, which I love, by the way, because I believe that every single one of us is a salesperson. Okay? However, though, I had a great manager that he said, Joseph, you need to be enthusiastic You need to be positive. And even if you don't feel positive, even if you don't feel enthusiastic, you have to fake it till you make it. And you know what? By faking it, you actually feel it. And you actually become enthusiastic or become positive. And so it is with money. If you think, you know what you're saying is easier said than done. However, though, I'm drowning in debt. How can you change that mindset? How could you change that thought? By maybe faking it. I don't care if you fake it. You got to fake it till you make it. You change the thoughts that you're thinking, and I'm going to give you some ideas here. But you know, if you're thinking, I don't have enough money, I never have enough money, what can you say to yourselves? I have a lot of money. Money's coming my way. You may think, yeah, but you know what? Look at all the bills that I'm getting. Every time I go to the mailbox, I get nothing but bills and bills and bills and bills. How can you change the mindset of that thought? You can say to yourselves, bills are paid easily and quickly. Just like the client that I had. I'm just making ends meet. I'm just making ends meet. How can you change that thought or that statement? I always have excess money. I don't know how it happens, but I always have excess money. Money comes to me sporadically. Some months I make good money, other months I make poor money. How can you change that to be positive? I have a constant flow of money because money is coming to me from all different sources. What do you think, Jordan? Do you have any ideas of any other thoughts?
No, I think you covered the right mindset that you need to put yourself in if the situation is in your best advantage, or if you're not in the position to say that you're financially doing well, or if you're not in the right mindset because a lot's going on, because maybe a family member passed away, maybe like we said, maybe you lost your job. I mean, maybe there's a lot of things that negatively would put anybody in a bad place in their minds. But again, just like you said, I mean, if you can fake it till you make it, in that sense, if you can see the other side, see the light, see the reality of where you're going to be, where you want to be, then that's halfway there. I mean, you're giving yourself the fuel to propel yourself in that direction. And I think that's the most important lesson out of what you're saying, is giving yourself the opportunity to get past the negative state of mind, but also providing yourself the fuel, just like you said, the feeling of feeling what it feels like to be a millionaire, the feeling to feel like what it feels like to have the best job in the world that you've always wanted, the feeling of having your own house, whatever the feeling is that you're shooting for. If you can imagine that, if you can feel that gratification, then I believe that's going to give you the fuel to push over these little hurdles that life throws our direction. And that's the key, is giving yourself that opportunity to get past that negative state of mind. So it's just amazing, because most people, when we meet with clients on the daily, a lot of people think it's just the financial tool that's going to make you rich. A lot of people think it's the right advisor that's going to make you a millionaire. When in reality, the most important aspect to building a sound financial plan, or to become a millionaire, or to be financially successful in whatever terms that means to you, it all starts and ends with you. You as an individual are the only one that can feel like they've made it successfully. No matter how much money you make because of a certain product or a certain financial advisor or whatever, that doesn't give you the end result of being a millionaire unless you truly see yourself as a millionaire, or if you truly believe in that you've made it successfully financially. I mean, there's too many times that, just like we said, one of you mentioned in the previous shows, that if you look at lottery winners, people who win the lottery all the time, these are people that are just everyday average people, just like you and I. And they have regular struggles. They have regular bills. They have regular just negative mindsets when things come. And then all of a sudden they're blessed with just fist over hand money that they don't know what to do with. And I don't even know the exact statistics. I don't want to put it out there, but I know it's a very, very high statistic of people who win the lottery become broke or they become bankrupt, I believe 10 years after, because of just the enamorment of having so much money, where they thought that was going to make them happy. They thought that was going to be their dream. That was going to be everything. So they just start spending it, blowing it, doing all this, not thinking about tomorrow, and realizing that 5 to 10 years later, money isn't the answer. It gets sucked dry, and they're back in the same position they were in the very beginning. So you got to ask yourself, it's not money that makes them wealthy. It's not money that gets them to be successful. I believe it's got to be that mindset. If you have the correct mindset, whether you make $40,000 a year or if you make $300,000 a year, each person could be wealthy in their own mind and be wealthy and financially successful in their own life. And it's all perspective in your own shoes. So again, you have to look at your situation. The biggest mistake and honestly the biggest flaw that we have in today's world is, I have to say it, is online, social media and that. There's obviously a lot of positives that come with it. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying the negative side of social media is it's forcing us all to really compare our lives to the next person. And it's so easy nowadays because whatever somebody posts online, if they're flying private jets, if they're visiting all these beautiful islands, beautiful places, that's all people see. Is they see the end result of that person enjoying these happy moments. That's what they think their life is filled with, is just going and travel and all these happy moments. When in reality, there's a lot of grief and suffering that probably goes in between each one of those trips and each one of those moments to take that picture. I mean, it's something that I believe in today's world, we are always constantly comparing our life to somebody who's better and saying, why don't we have this? Why can't I have that life? When in reality, you can. You have to just take the necessary steps, and you have to have the right mindset. And the biggest thing is you can never compare your situation with somebody else's, because everybody has their own dealt of cards, hand of cards been dealt to them. And you have to deal with what cards you have and make the best situation you can with the hands. And you'll be surprised, because at the end of the day, as long as you're happy, as long as you know that you've made it financially successfully, or if you made it to the end goal that you've wanted, then that's a victory. That's a win. And you don't have to worry about the stresses that a lot of people do, because, again, it's all a mindset about money.
So true. Absolutely true. And you know what? We're going to go on break here pretty soon, but before we go on break, I love to watch sports. And if you ever watch any team, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, boxing, I love boxing. So if you ever watched a boxing match, when the athletes get on the ring, they have an attitude, a winning attitude. They look at each other in the eye. They're trying to intimidate the other person. They have this attitude that they're going to win. Could you imagine somebody walking into a ring with a negative attitude? Or some football team that just walks, not runs, but just walks on the field with their heads down, thinking, oh my gosh, those were the Super Bowl champions last year. We're going to lose to them. They probably will. You see? But no, they don't do that. They run into the stadium. They pat each other in the rear. They kind of hug each other. They kind of do that dances that they do when they score a touchdown, let's say. They're all doing what? Changing their mindset. Yes, everybody has that negative thought. If you let that negative thought or the negative statements that you're telling yourselves each and every day continue, that's what you're going to get. So you need to change the statements. You need to change the way you think in order to achieve your dreams. We're ready for the next break. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joseph Quijano with my son Jordan, and we'll be right back right after the break.
If what you thought to be true about money turned out not to be true, when would you like to know about it? Most of us have been taught wrong about money either by our family or friends. Our school system does not have any curriculum to teach us how money really works and how to make our money grow without risk in any economy. By tuning into Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano, you'll learn the truth about money and strategies to help you grow your money without risk. Are you ready to thrive financially in the economy? Listen for Become the Banker radio show every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific.
Investments hit all-time lows, except for Become the Banker. Do you know how much money was lost in those accounts? Not one penny. Become the Banker is a safe, guaranteed return of 4% plus a 1% dividend. In a nutshell, you overfund life insurance on purpose to build a tax-sheltered cash account for retirement and for loaning to yourself along the way and not losing to the stock market. BecomeTheBanker.org. You owe it to yourself to go to the next seminar. BecomeTheBanker.org. Who's laughing now?
This is Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano. To participate in today's show, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You could also ask to comment by email to joseph@becomethebanker.org or text to 303-880-0887.
Welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Quijano, certified financial planner, and we're talking about the way we think about money. We're trying to help you understand that we need to start thinking a little bit differently if we want to achieve different results. So if you're not happy with where you are financially at this time, you just start thinking, maybe have a soul-searching session with yourselves and find out, what are your thoughts? What are you really attracting? What are you really telling yourselves? And it's easy enough to change those thoughts. And that's the greatest power. And we've been talking about that. So again, if you're thinking money issues, it stresses me. How can you change that? You could say, my relationship with money makes me feel good. Well, how about this? I always struggle to pay the rent or to pay anything. Every year, it's the same every year. I always don't have nothing left at the end of the year. How can you change those thoughts? Some people may say, you know what? I always make the same amount of money year after year after year. What kind of result do you think you're going to be getting if you think like that? Do this exercise with me. How could you change those thoughts? Instead of saying, that you make the same amount of money each and every year, how could you change it? you could say something like, I am constantly increasing my income each and every year from all different sources. And you know what? Everything that I'm trying to share with you here, everything that I'm trying to help you understand the law of attraction, it has worked for me and my family. You know, I think at the very, very, very beginning of doing our show, I share my story with you. And most of you know that I came from Mexico City. And my family was not a wealthy family by any means. I mean, they were not wealthy at all. We had some pretty kind of a humble beginnings. However, though, the thing that I remember is that one of my cousins and her husband, they never really worked a steady jobs. The husband was a milkman. He delivered milk. And my cousin worked as a secretary, off and on. They had 3 children, 2 boys and 1 girl. And I don't know how. I just don't know how. But they put those kids through college and advanced schooling. One of them is a psychologist in Mexico City. One boy is a mechanical engineer, and the other boy is a chemical engineer. How did they do that? You know what? They never had a negative thought about not doing it. About doing it. They always believed that they would provide their children a higher education. And that happened. The same family. Even though they had no steady income, they never had a problem eating. They always had a meal on the table. It boils down, that is the way that people think. They expected. In this case, you know, my family is very, very religious. They're Catholics, so they knew that God would provide for them. See, that's part of the law of attraction. That's believing. If you don't have that belief, you're not going to achieve. Simple as that. So
yep.
I know that it's worked for me, and it's worked for my family. I lived it. And I'm trying to help my clients understand that building wealth, achieving financial success, really has nothing to do. I mean, you have to have a good product, obviously, but that is not the only tool that you need to have to create financial success. Yes, you do have to have a good financial planner, but that's not the only tool. I think it all begins, like my son stated earlier, with the way we think. So how are you thinking? Jordan?
Yeah, no, so definitely. I think the key thing here is I just wanted to go back to the point I made before the break here. With the lottery people, I just was looking it up here. 70% of all lottery winners go bankrupt. I mean, that's a staggering number, 70%. Isn't that? I mean, that just shocks me to know that, again, everything that we're talking about here with the money that people figured that we're going to solve their problems, that having just that $1 million or $5 million or $20 million, however much that they win from these lotteries, because there's a lot of money that comes from it, they thought that was going to be the answer. Yet 70% of those winners ended up being absolutely broke, bankrupt, probably worse off than they were before they won the money. And again, that goes with saying that it isn't how much money you make at the end of the year. It's not how much money your investments return. I mean, all those things can help. I know it can. But at the end of the day, if you don't see yourself successful where you're standing today, then how are you going to see yourself successful in 5 to 10, 20 years from now if you have that $1 million, if you have that $2 million? Because that's not the key. That's not what's going to make, like everybody says, money doesn't make you happy. It's not what buys happiness. It's not what gives you happiness. It sure as heck helps a little bit to get you there, maybe a little bit quicker. But at the same point, a lot of that could be materialistic happiness. A lot of that could be just not genuine. And I think this happens tremendously. This happens a lot to people who either win the lotteries, like we're just talking about, or to people who make a tremendous amount of money over their years. And it's always shocking to me when I meet with clients, and like I said, if there's somebody who's making $40,000 a year, and it could be very similar to the story of what my father just mentioned with his family. The individuals brought their children through college and had a very driven story to make their children's lives better than theirs. I mean, I see this all the time, and it's shocking to say if I see somebody who's making $40,000 or $50,000 a year, yet a lot of times they have a lot more money tucked away, they have a lot more in savings, they don't have as much debt, versus the people who make $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 a year, who end up having a tremendous amount of debt, don't have anything in savings, and yet a lot of people think it's money that's going to give them happiness. It's money that's going to get me over that debt. It's money that's going to do it. When in reality, it has to begin with you, and it has to end with you in your mind to make sure, again, that you have reached that success, whether it's reaching your goals of doing that, and making sure that, again, money's not the answer here. It definitely helps. But I love this topic, and I know we're going to be coming to, an end on this topic here, either this episode or next. But I think it's just so important for people to realize that there is so much more than just the products or advisors. Yes, it helps to definitely have the right product and the right advisor, but at the end of the day, that is not what cures everything. It has to give you have to have the right mindset. You have to have the right driven goal to be able to reach that end all happiness. And at the same point, you have to have along that whole ride the positive outlook of knowing what you're doing this for. What is that end all goal? Am I trying to get this house for my family so that we can live in a better house and not be apartment to apartment, having rent being raised every month and being at the mercy of the landlord? No, we want to try to buy this house for our family, be able to build a sound structure home for them to grow in. And that could be as simple as a goal like that people are starting to save for, put money aside. And at the end, once they have it, the fulfillment that brings is worth so much more than the value of the house or the dollar monetary status of what that could have been. So I truly believe it has to be with you in your mind. And this is why we love talking about this, because we see the other side that people don't realize. When you're a financial advisor and you're seeing families left and right of all different walks of life, all different financial decisions, financial decisions, but all different financial upbringings, all different financial mindsets. At the end of the day, there seems to be some common areas. And a lot of it has to do with the mentality that they have on money, what they've been taught about money, and really where they're trying to go with that money. And it all starts with you. So we really hope that you're enjoying this, because this is really a kind of a first glance, a first person view of what we see on a day-to-day basis when we go behind the kind of the veil of everybody's finances. And it's so important for everybody to understand that we all have some common, traits, and we all have some common obstacles in life when it is that negative attitude, when it is those bills that pile up for anybody, whether you're wealthy or not. I think that brings us together a little bit. Hopefully brings some of us that are listening here together to know that we all want the same goal of just being happy. We want to be successful, and we want to be at peace of mind, just knowing that what we can do is on our terms, and we don't have a creditor or a bank telling us what we have to do. That's, I think, some common traits that we all try to strive for, and it's very, very achievable if you have the right mindset. So we're going to break it into another break here, and then we're going to close off the show. But I want to thank you guys, you viewers and listeners and everybody. I just want to thank you so much for tuning in with us here. I'm Jordan Quijano with Joseph Quijano, my father, with Become the Banker. Again, we're on the Inspired Choices Network. Really looking forward to helping you and just helping you achieve your financial dreams. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break.
If what you thought to be true about money turned out not to be true, when would you like to know about it? Most of us have been taught wrong about money either by our family or friends. Our school system does not have any curriculum to teach us how money really works and how to make our money grow without risk in any economy. By tuning into Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano, you'll learn the truth about money and strategies to help you grow your money without risk. Are you ready to thrive financially in the economy? Listen for Become the Banker radio show every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific.
Hello, I'm consumer advocate Tom Martino. For years, I've been telling you about a safe, secure investment that you can do for as little as $200 a month. Earnings grow tax-free. And better than that, during this recent stock market crash, they did not lose a penny. Even though investments hit all-time lows, those involved in Become the Banker are still earning their guaranteed return of 4% tax-free plus a 1% dividend. Isn't it time you at least investigate and possibly become the banker yourself? In a nutshell, you overfund life insurance on purpose to build tax-sheltered cash for retirement and for loaning to yourself for life's needs and pleasures, college, credit card debt, a mortgage. They can all be paid when you become the banker. Do yourself a favor. At least find out more. BecomeTheBanker.org. For the next webinar, that's BecomeTheBanker.org. And for a video review, BecomeTheBanker.info. It's time to take action and stop your losses. BecomeTheBanker.org.
This is Become the Banker radio show with certified financial planner Joseph Quijano. To participate in today's show, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You could also ask to comment by email to joseph@becomethebanker.org or text to 303-880-0887.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joseph Quijano with my son Jordan, and we're here talking to you about what I consider probably the most important step in achieving your financial dreams. And that is the way we think about money, the way we think about receiving our dreams, and it all ties into the wonderful law, and it's called the law of attraction, that has been taught by many, 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 many wonderful philosophers, and way back in the early 1900s. But it has to do with the way we think. Now, if you want to allow, and I mention this word allow, your dreams to come true, you have to play the game. It's a game. It's called the allowing game. You allow games. Now, so here's the thing. I want you to visualize this. You have a desire, and your desire may be to achieve $1 million, let's say. But we're human beings, so we have doubt, right? This inner voice that may say, "Well, this could not happen." That's doubting, right? And then the final step would be manifestation, when the dream becomes a reality. So you have a desire, but then you have resistance, which is the doubt, and then you have manifestation, which is allowing the dream to come through. Well, here's what I think. Having a strong desire with strong doubts means that your desire will never be manifested. Okay. Let me say that again. If you have a strong desire with strong doubt, means that your desire will never come through. Doubt is going to be preventing it. Or listen to this, having a strong desire with just a little bit of doubt, just a tiny bit of doubt, will mean that your desire will come through very slowly. And number 3, if you have a strong desire with absolutely no doubt, your desire will be manifested quickly. This is a game. And you may be, some people may be too practical to believe it. And then they may say, oh my gosh, this is dumb. What kind of, look at the, it brings a picture to my mind. My son was talking about the lottery winners and all that. And, whenever there's a big lottery, everybody congregates to buy tickets. And I know, I've done it before, so nobody is actually immune to this, okay? I have actually stood on the line before to buy a lottery ticket. And when I pay my $1 or my $5, inside of my voice, inside of my mind, there's a little voice that may say to me, you know what? It's a small percentage of people that win. That's a doubt. I have doubts, right? Some people may say, I just wasted my money. I just wasted $1 on this ticket. Nobody in my family ever wins. Someone in a bigger city will always win. Or somebody in a small town will win. So those are doubting thoughts. So please remember that even if you have a strong desire, but you have a strong doubt, just remember that your outcome will never come through. If you have a strong desire with just a little bit of doubt, will mean that your desire will come through very slowly. But if you have a strong desire with absolutely no doubt, that means that your desire will come through very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot tell you how important this is. I know that we're all human beings and we all have doubts. But we need to believe, just believe. I don't care who you believe in, but if you believe in the universe, believe in the universe. If you believe in God, believe in God. Okay, so you are part of the universe. And you are like a magnet. You attract whatever you believe. But if you have doubts, it's not going to help you. So you have to get rid of all the doubts. Get rid of the doubts. Put some blinders on. Let me tell you something. If you look at a racehorse, they got blinders. They got those flaps on their eyes so they don't look any place else but straight ahead. We need to be like a racehorse. Have some blinders on. And put those flaps in our mind so it doesn't allow any doubts to come through. Just 100% for sure believe that you're going to get your goal. Now, next week, we'll tune in again and we'll continue with this wonderful show. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Become the Banker radio show. Certified financial planner Joseph Quijano will return next Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. Until then, remember, rich people think like rich people. Poor people think like poor people.